Picture this. You're driving the Federal Highway. To your left, a vast, shimmering lake stretching out to the horizon. You come back a few weeks later, and it's gone. Vanished. No water, just dry earth, sheep grazing, and fences crossing where waves once rolled. That's Lake George, a place that swallows boats, spawns ghost stories, and sparks rumors of UFOs. And here's the thing. No one can fully explain it. Stick around, because in the next 20 minutes you'll see why this lake has baffled explorers, terrified sailors, and fascinated storytellers for over 200 years. And before we dive in, hit subscribe and smash that like button. It really helps keep strange mysteries like this alive. Lake George, or Wiriwa as the Ngunnawal people called it, is no ordinary lake. To the traditional custodians, it was sacred, alive, a place where spirits dwelled beneath the shifting waters. To Europeans arriving in the 1800s, it was a promising inland sea, a symbol of stability in a wild, unpredictable land. Governor Lachlan Macquarie, in 1820, named it after King George III, thinking it would be a permanent landmark. But what he didn't know is that this so-called royal lake would vanish again and again, leaving future generations baffled. For Aussies who grew up traveling between Canberra and Sydney, Lake George is etched into memory. Kids on buses would stare out the window, waiting to see if it was full that day, or gone. That uncertainty, that sense of what's it going to be this time, gave the lake a reputation far beyond its geography. It became a living riddle. Here's the weird part. Lake George has no rivers flowing into it and none flowing out. It's a giant bowl sitting on fault lines. Scientists call it an endorheic basin. What that really means is this lake doesn't play by the rules. In 1982, it dried up completely. Locals crossed its bed on foot, farmers built fences across what used to be shoreline, children rode motorbikes where boats once sailed. Then, in the 1990s, it refilled, almost without rain. Trees that had grown over 10 meters tall drowned in its sudden waters. Imagine watching a forest sink beneath waves. Eerie, like the land itself had changed its mind overnight. Hydrologists blame strong westerlies for the pendulum effect. Winds push water violently to one side, then back again, creating the illusion of vanishing levels. But that doesn't explain why, for decades at a time, there's nothing. Just earth. Lake George has claimed lives. In 1956, 5 naval cadets drowned during a regatta. Fierce winds flipped their boats as if some force rose from beneath. Survivors described waves smashing from all sides, leaving them no escape. 2 years later, another loss shook the region. A family, including a local priest, rowed out for a picnic. When winds surged, their boat capsized. None returned. A memorial still stands near the shoreline, quietly reminding visitors of the lake's hidden danger. There's also the 1992 case of 2 fishermen. They set out on a calm dawn, only to be found hours later clinging to wreckage. They swore their boat was flipped in water that looked flat. It was like being grabbed from below, one said. Greg Sims, back in the 70s, rowed on a sunny day. In minutes he was trapped in chaos. He later described it as a washing machine of water, spinning, dragging, suffocating. He barely made it back. For decades, he warned others never to trust the lake. For the Ngunnawal people, the Bujabulia, water spirits, explained the tragedies. Those who disrespected the lake were punished, pulled into its depths. Respect kept you safe. Arrogance brought doom. European settlers added their own ghost stories. By the 1950s, truckies on the Federal Highway began reporting something chilling. A young woman in white, waving them down at night. When they stopped, she disappeared. Others claimed she climbed aboard, only to vanish mid-drive. The Phantom Hitchhiker of Lake George became one of the nation's most enduring ghost legends. Campers have told of hearing splashes at midnight when the lake was bone dry. Others swore they saw glowing mist shaped like human figures drifting across the empty basin. Paranormal investigators captured EVPs, ghostly whispers carried on the wind. The 1970s brought another layer: strange lights. Dozens of locals claimed to see glowing orbs over the dry bed. Some zipped across the horizon, zigzagging in ways planes couldn't. Others hovered silently before vanishing. UFO researchers flocked to the area. They said Lake George sat on energy lines, a window into other realms. It became known as one of Australia's top UFO hotspots, and even skeptics admitted too many witnesses saw the same thing. Scientists tried to crack the code. Some argued underground aquifers drained and refilled the basin. Others pointed to tectonic activity, subtly shifting the land beneath. Logical, sure, but incomplete. Locals offered stranger theories. In the 1830s, convicts dug irrigation channels nearby. Some swore those channels accidentally connected to the ocean. Others whispered the lake drained into tunnels, reaching all the way to Chile. Far-fetched? Absolutely. But when a lake the size of Sydney Harbour disappears, imagination fills the gaps. In the 2000s, new studies measured salinity. At times, the water tested nearly as salty as the sea. That raised eyebrows. Where was the salt coming from? Could it hint at underground passages linked to the coast? Scientists couldn't fully explain. Beyond the famous regatta, more lives have been lost. In the late 50s, 2 schoolboys drowned while fishing, their small dinghy vanishing without trace. In the 1960s, a truck driver swerved near the lake after spotting a figure on the road. His rig rolled, killing him instantly. Locals tied the accident to the phantom hitchhiker. Even recently, hikers reported strange disappearances of pets near the shoreline. Dogs running ahead, suddenly gone, never found. Some put it down to sinkholes. Others, spirits. These days, the lake is often dry. Sheep graze where boats once raced. Tourists stop, take photos, and laugh that it's Australia's biggest vanishing act. But talk to elders, scientists, or long-time locals, and they'll tell you, don't be fooled. This lake remembers. Stories still surface of splashes in dry nights, of strange lights above the horizon, of voices on the wind. Whether natural or supernatural, Lake George refuses to be ordinary. Lake George is a paradox, beautiful yet deadly, scientific yet spiritual, vanishing yet unforgettable. It's taken lives, spawned myths, and challenged science for centuries. Maybe it's geology, maybe it's something deeper. But whether you see it full or empty, one thing's certain: Lake George is unlike anywhere else on Earth, and its mystery still unsolved. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button right now. Subscribe for more Aussie mysteries and share this with a mate who loves strange stories. And tell us in the comments, is Lake George just a natural trick of geology or something far stranger? We'd love to hear your thoughts.